So apparently it's a somewhat common problem that the switch of the wh10 breaks down after a while. Mine doesn't turn off anymore and that kinda sucks. So I ordered a new switch to replace it, and I have no idea how to do it, but I thought I'd document the process for fun. Let's see how we get this one in. Alright, all you need is some basic equipment like a pair of pliers, a screwdriver, soldering iron, some solder, a third hand holding claw robot tool or something similar to hold it. Sponge can also be really handy to clean the tip of the soldering iron. And that's about it. And not on the picture, but really important is a solder sucking tool, like you see here, to remove the old solder from the PCB. Opening up the pedal is actually quite easy. You just turn it on the back, remove the 4 screws, like you see me doing here. Then you take the back plate off. There's a piece of plastic that you can remove as well. 2 more screws on the PCB, and then you would think you can take it out, but you also need to remove the nuts of the input and output jack, and then you can carefully, once it's done, yeah, there we go, then you can carefully yank it out. The whole enclosure is actually pretty tight, so you need to be a bit careful. It doesn't come out too easily. The switch is under it. You also need to remove the nut from the other side. Once that is done, you pull the switch out and it's ready to get worked on. To be honest, this was by far the hardest part for me. I'm still relatively inexperienced when it comes to soldering, and it was also the first time that I worked with a solder sucker. You need to remove 9 soldering spots, and it took me really a long time till I removed finally enough solder till I was able to pull the old switch off. Yeah, guess you need some patience for it, but eventually you get there, or maybe you're more handy than me, but for me it took really about half an hour, I think, till I finally was able to do it. So after the old switch was finally gone, it is time to add the new switch, and that actually went pretty well. You just put it into the position of the old switch and add solder on top of the 9 pins. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory, I think, and I have to say it went pretty smoothly and was done really quick. And yeah, that was nice, because my nerves were wrecked quite a bit from removing the old switch before. Anyways, once the solder cooled down a bit, you can put the old switch back in, remove the nuts that go on the outside of the pedal first, and then sneak the switch in under the rest of the electronics. It's important to note that the whole enclosure is actually really tight, and the switch needs to be in a certain position so you can close the pedal, and so the rocking mechanism does work. So it's a bit of a fidgeting around, and it's not really easily accessible, and unfortunately you can also not see that much, and you need to be careful to not break anything, obviously. But yeah, it took me a while to get the switch into the right position. Maybe it's worth to make notes how the switch needs to be placed before you remove the old switch. I should have maybe done that in retrospect, but essentially the goal is to put the PCB down so the output and input jack can fit through the holes. And yeah, you need to push the switch down and into the right position so you can achieve that. And yeah, it took me a while to get this. So when everything is in the right position, and that means that the input and output jack fit through the holes and the switch is not in the way of the rocking mechanism, it's time to close up the pedal again. And yeah, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, you just screw in all the screws that you unscrewed, add the nuts on top of the switch and the input and output jack, and yeah, then you're good to go and you can try a hopefully working wh10. Yeah, all in all, it was not that hard, and I think you don't need to be afraid if your switch is broken. It's certainly doable. If I could do it, you can do it too. And I guess that's the takeaway from it. And yeah, let's see if this thing works. Other than that, I'm out, and thanks for watching and good luck.